Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. You're tuned into TSMS Radio, and I am your host, Sasha Marina. Today, we have a very special guest by the name of David Damian Figueroa, and he is pretty much promoting his newly launched show on Latin Heat Media, which is the David Damian Show. And he had a very special guest, I believe, when he released his first episode a few weeks ago on April 10th. But without further ado, we're going to have him live on the air, speak all about that and his experience in the industry. Hi, David. How are you?
Hi. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. How are y'all doing?
We're good. We're good. Thank you for taking the time to
Good.
being on. So, like I mentioned, you have a very special project going on at the moment called the David Damian Show. Tell us a little bit about how that came about and how your partnership with Latin Heat Media um, just, kind of flourished.
Sure. Well, I started a Facebook Live show probably like about 2 years ago, and so it was basically new. I just didn't really. The first episode I did, I really didn't even know how to use the Facebook Live feature on my app. So I invited a bunch of different friends that I knew from the industry, like Nicholas Gonzalez, who's on The Good Doctor, Eva Longoria, Dolores Huerta, and on and on. And so they were like about 27 minute episodes, and I did 39 of them, and created a decent following with all of those interviews. And then I waited a year. Everybody said you should do your own show, and I really didn't. I really liked the freedom of Facebook Live, and it just was very inexpensive to do. Another reason why I wanted to start the show is because I thought there was a lot of great talent that we're not getting mainstream access to Latino audiences, and pretty much the majority of the people that I have on my Facebook or in my social media of my followers are predominantly people of diverse backgrounds. And so they're really enjoying it and leaving lots of great comments, interactive, and asking questions, as we were on live and would message us. But I waited a year. It was a lot of work. It was just myself, and it was just a lot of work. So what we ended up doing is I contacted Belle because I really loved her show, Belle Hernandez, and finally recruited her. We did a Kickstarter campaign, and within like about a week, we received all the funding that we needed to be able to do 5 pilots. And so we launched with Latin Heat Cinema, and then tomorrow my show is an official selection of NATP conference at the Omni Cultural Film Festival in Hollywood at the Egyptian Theater. Yes, the National Association of Television Program Executives. So it'll be seen by very decision makers, and there'll be a lot of other folks trying to sell content, people buying content there. So that'll be tomorrow, and just very hopeful. And if not, we just stick with Latin Heat. She and I are tied to one another on this project and other projects that we have developed. One of them being a project called Thrift Store Score. It's a competition show, and then a show called I Was There, where people who have first-hand accounts, they can not reenact, but have like a retrospect of a major movement that they started, i.e. would be like the Me Too movement, towards Huerta and the Great Boycott, and how we, at this moment in time, we really need to inspire people and have them really know how to be active to this. With this. Hello.
Oh, sorry. We kind of lost you off the air there. It's kind of in and out. So last thing we picked up was the whole activist movement with Dolores Huerta. That's very special. How was it interviewing her? How was it, just being in her presence and just picking up all that information that she has to give, her history and everything she's done for activism?
Yeah, so I have a social justice background for at least 25, almost 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Dolores is a very, very dear friend of mine, and we're very, very close. We've worked together in the past, 20 years on different campaigns and dealing with immigration, fundraising, all kinds of things for her foundation, and the organization where I was vice president at the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund. So we've always worked together. She's a great mentor to me. I sometimes work as an advisor for her. I'm always shocked that she would ask me for my advice on certain things. But we're very close. There's not a day that goes by. I think the challenge was that I was going to ask her tough questions, and as a friend, it could be a delicate matter. But I did ask her some tough questions on the show, that I felt that, I needed to, because otherwise it would have just been, a very easy piece to do. And, the whole thing is that you want people to learn
Definitely.
learn things about people that you have on the air.
Definitely. So, David, now let's kind of go back to how this all started with you. You just mentioned your background in activism. What about overall production? I mean, I've searched you up online. You definitely have some of a communications background. What really made you want to launch a show about people? I mean, you mentioned the whole Facebook Live and then somewhat transitioning into the David Damian Show that you have now with Latin Heat, but I mean, how did that even just come about? Like, how did this business industry just sway you towards this producing your own show now?
There's a couple of reasons. If you have something to say, I really, if a person has something to say, you really believe you have something to say, and you have a message, you want to get that out. When it comes to diversity, when it comes to all kinds of social issues that people from diverse backgrounds face each and every day and throughout history. What we want to be able to do is, you have to be able to put, your best foot forward and produce those things yourself. And, many Latinos and many people, of color don't have those mentors in the industry. So we have to, actually even go online and figure out, what is this title and what is that title and what is the format of a show. And so it's you learning as you go along, because we have never really had the opportunity to be on the set, to be at ABC Studios. But a lot of that is changing. A lot of original content and what people really want. The diverse, the emerging markets are growing by leaps and bounds. And, the studios have to follow, have to keep up, because, you need the content to satisfy this huge audience, But I hope that answers your question. It's just, we do, I just, we just, Bella and I said, let's just do this show and just do it, and book the studio and raise the money and produce it and take ourselves very, very seriously, because, the whole idea is that you have to create quality too. You just can't, if you want someone to buy your show.
Definitely. I mean, it's finding those people that that kind of just connect with you as your audience, and that follow you and that love you and support you. Like you said, I mean, you did that Kickstarter, and I mean, you were lucky enough that it got funded in order to launch this, this production. So that just tells you, that your supporters are there and there's people that believe in you, and that's obviously probably a great feeling. What else do you have in store for this show? Is there anything else that you're trying to do with this? Do you have any other projects in the works besides the award you were just nominated for tomorrow, or the category, I believe?
Yeah. So like I said, we're trying to develop. Usually, when you go to do a pitch, they want to know what else you got. So we're developing these other two projects. One is called Thirst or Score. As I mentioned earlier, it's a competition show. And the other one is first-hand accounts of people who were part of a great movement or started a great movement, and it's called I Was There. And so those are 30-minute shows. They're more, the last one is educational. The David Damian Show it's an educational show as well. It's meant to inspire people, I have also a book that's going to be coming out next month. It's called A Reminder to My 23-Year-Old Self. And it's a book of quotes, personal thoughts, personal wisdom, and that type of thing. And so that's going to be coming. I'm really excited about that. And then I'm also writing a children's novel that I'm almost finished with too. I can't say the name of the title just yet because
no worries, copyrights and whatnot. I understand.
Yes,
But
it's a children's novel, and it's a a loosely based Latino adaptation of a favorite children's novel, so
okay.
mainstream novel. Yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, it's amazing that you even have the time to be writing, honey. That's great. And what are your plans with that children's novel? Are you trying to distribute that in certain bookstores, or are we just like in we're not there yet?
Well, I have an agreement with the Luis Orozco, who managed all of his father's children's publishing and music and all of that. They do very, very well. His name is Jose Luis Orozco. He's sort of like the Latino Mr. Rogers, but
Okay.
I'm working with them. The book on quotes and personalism, that's self-publishing. But
Yeah.
the publishing company is very excited about it. So go figure, right? So
Of
I'm very happy about that.
Of course, of course. I mean, I really feel that it's important to still write children's novels to get kids involved in reading, and then obviously creating the content that they'll be interested in reading. So, being a Latino child nowadays in the U.S. is not so uncommon as it used to be, right? So
Well,
I appreciate you actually doing that for the kids out there.
so the thing is, I grew up as a child farm worker, and the little girl in this book,
Mhm.
she starts out as a child farm worker, and so
Yeah.
when you look at where you're at and where you can go, as long as you have I always say that if you have a dream, you have to make a plan before you can actually put it into action. Otherwise, it's just a lot of talking. But you have to have
Yeah.
a plan for your dream. So you just can't be wishing senseless, right? And dreaming senselessly. And you have to find a
Definitely,
group of
'cause
people that believe.
of course, of course. It all takes work. I mean, you can have a dream, but you definitely need a game plan and how to accomplish it. So, those are some wise words coming from you. Why don't you go ahead and tell people where they can find you, follow you on social media, where they can tune into your show as well?
Sure, it's at David Damian Show on Twitter and on Instagram, and the David Damian Show on Facebook. And I answer all my, at least for now, right? I really answer all the messages that people send to me, um,
Mhm.
and I always respond to everybody because because right now I guess it's manageable. But I have about on that page I have about 3,000, 5,000 on the personal, and so if you look me up, it's under David Damian Figueroa. I'd love to hear from you, if you have ideas, or even if you people use me as a resource sometimes too. They'll message me
Yeah.
and they'll looking for direction, and I'm glad to do it. As when it takes a while, but I do get back to every single person.
That's very sweet of you. And where can they tune into your show? On
But,
LatinHeatCinema.com? Is that exactly where?
yes, and you can do that
Beautiful.
either through LatinHeatCinema.com or go through LatinHeat.com, and that'll take you there. It has my logo for the show, and you just click on that, and you can watch the first episode. And I'm really proud of that episode. And Dolores, is always, she's always just a great, great source of information and just great inspiration. To me, she's a wonderful person. She's my madrina. She was my best woman when I got married.
Oh,
So,
wow, that's amazing. So
yeah,
you guys have history.
yeah.
For
We
sure.
have a
More than
lot
20
of,
years.
yep, she knows where all my skeletons are, and I kind of know where some of hers are. But
Wow.
we'll never tell.
Wow. Well, David, it's been a pleasure having you, sweetheart, on the show today. I look forward to hearing more about
Uh,
you, your projects, your show, and all these books that you're writing. That's amazing. I really admire people that write, and not just write, but that write books, because it takes a lot not
oh,
just to like come up with the idea, but just the storytelling and the planning and the editing. I feel like it's you know a lot of brain work that goes into that.
yeah. The thing about writing is that it's a very, very lonely experience when you're going through it because you're very vulnerable. It's a very you have a lot of raw emotions because you're creating something. Anytime you're creating something, there's always those feelings. But in writing, you're your own boss. You decide everything. You decide who, what, why, and where. And that's a great great position to be if you feel like you're powerless. Because I really feel that people, if you're feeling powerless, you should journal. And journaling, no one can tell you what to do because they're your feelings. It's your opinion, and that's how I feel about writing.
Definitely. So I hope to be communicating more with you through the social media, like you mentioned. And I'll definitely keep up with your show. I did see part of the episode. I admit I did not finish the whole episode. So I will do that, go through the whole your first episode of the David Damian Show, and I will let you know my feedback for sure because I know you're proud of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looking for all kinds of opinions. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, love. You have a great night. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Alrighty, everyone. That was David Damian Figueroa. Feel free to keep up with his show on LatinHeatCinema.com and stay tuned with us through the SashaMarinaShow.info, through Facebook, Instagram, The Sasha Marina Show. You all take care. Thank you so much for tuning in, and bye-bye.